This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, and a big warm welcome. Yes, we're back. The boys are back in town. It's Super Saturday. Joining myself and John on this not totally shit award-winning podcast, SBC 24/24 Racing Podcast of the Year. Jack Veach joins us to get more winners for you punters on the Saturday. Good evening, Jack.
Evening, Lee. Evening, John.
Isn't it right?
Yeah, right. Without further ado, we shall get this show on the road. It's a very busy Saturday. We've been in good form on the pod, certainly highlighting quite a few winners over the last 2 days. So hopefully you've all done well. We've certainly been getting some good feedback, and the pressure's on for us to do it again, so you know what happens. Right, we've got 3 meetings. Thankfully, they've rubbished Chester off to the evening and bin that off, which we wish they'd do every day, really. We've got Ascot, York, and Newmarket on the telly box. So we'll go to Ascot first of all for their 2. And we start with a lovely easy affair to solve. It is, of course, the 145. It's a 5-furlong sprint handicap, 19 runners. No idea about the draw. No idea about where they'll come. I've no idea about this race. What a start. So I need your help, guys.
Sums up my thoughts, I think, that as well.
Some start this, yeah.
It's a shit race, isn't it? Let's be fair about it. You know, I mean, all right, we have to preview the telly races, but fucking hell, what a start for punters tomorrow if that's what they're going to have to get stuck into. I mean, I looked at it and I thought, well, there's maybe an opportunity for Rohan to pick a few bits and play it on. These are shit. I mean, I know he's got 9-12, but fucking hell, bastards, these.
It's his track. They ran him at Windsor last time before that HQ, time before that wrong trip at Kempton, time before that Lingfield, which is very sharp and very difficult to obviously get your job done from the back. So down to 99 now, and he's back to a track where he does enjoy. I mean, that form in October last year, beating English Oak by a neck, is absolutely standout. Not only by a country mile, but a country dozen. An incredible piece of form in the context of this race. So it wouldn't be no surprise if Rohan just suddenly burst back into
just that nice middle draw as well. He's not going to get drawn out of it, is he? You know, I mean, Probert can keep an eye either side and everything. And if somebody put a gun to me head, I'd back that. And then I'd pull the fucking trigger.
Do you know what? I think it's worth chuck a 50 at it on the machine. It's something like, if it's going to be that sort of price, I think it's just a throwaway bet. But you know, if that horse is on song, you're probably going to get paid out. Jack, your thoughts on it?
Weirdly unanimous, really. Rohan was the one that stuck out to me. Obviously, £3 lower than when you mentioned Lee, that good form. He loves Ascot. I guess the only drawback for me was the 5 for him. You know, he's getting on. He's getting a bit slower. There is a good pace on here, but I think, you know, as we know, he'll be one coming late. Will he be there in time? I'm not quite sure, but I think you couldn't go wrong in the place market. It's probably at 2.8 or something. I think you get a run for your money there.
They might be having another target for him later in the year.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Awesome.
Anyway, it's just worth a throwaway bet of anyone's cash without going mad. Right, moving on to the 220 then at Ascot, their second race, and this is the Group 2 Summer Mile. We very much as a Bar Stewards team like Cudwar, and we've made it our early bird service bet. So I don't think you're going to see the prices when you listen to this, which is currently around 2-1, I believe, at the moment. So Jack, how do you stand on the Summer Mile?
I think Cudwar is the right selection here. I certainly couldn't grab that at all. It's whether that price is hanging around tomorrow, I'm not too sure. I guess, you know, you've got Sonny Liston here, who obviously does well at this place. You know, ran another good race in the Cup, of course, off a huge weight. So, you can't be too negative on his chances in this sort of company. I guess Bolster was possibly one that was of interest. I thought it was a bit of a trappy sort of race last time out of the Curragh. Possibly didn't quite play to his strengths, and I don't think he quite stays the 10 as well. I think he's a better horse. At a mile, I know that sounds silly given that he's won over 10 on soft, but I think he'll be seen to better effect. He's a front runner, and I think he could go well at a sort of double figure price. But yeah, wouldn't be at a push to take on the Fav, in all honesty.
My take on it is that Sonny Liston, he shows his best form when there's like that big field, strong pace, handicaps. Cudwar, the gears that showed at Ascot when it mowed down Docklands when looking unlikely off a moderate pace, I thought was impressive. The official rating of 109 does him a disservice, really, given how Docklands was second in the Queen Anne, albeit a poor Queen Anne. This is certainly not a Queen Anne. I just thought that probably 2-1, as we record, is way too big. I'd be a strong fav on this. If I could mention one at a price for you guys that like prices, it'll upset John because it's a Charlie Hills runner in Ancient Rome. Obviously, this horse needed the run badly and was basically run loose by Spencer at Ascot. Even Jim Hay came on the telly and said that this wasn't the target. I think Ancient Rome's got some decent form last year, especially if the ground quickens up. I think he could be very interesting at big odds, just in case Cudwar doesn't show up on the day. John, how do you see it?
Yeah, this year's trainer upgrade, isn't it? Fabris to Hills. I couldn't look past the favourite here, to be honest. I thought the Ascot win against Docklands and the Haggis horse as well, which I don't think there was that far short that day. It just wasn't ridden to suit. I think that's standout form against these. I was looking at this race actually, and I was wondering to myself, Ray Dawson, Bob Marley, Laura Pearson. When was the last time them three popped up in a Group 2 as riders?
Exactly. That's what happens on Super Saturday. You have some strange bookings.
Well, I don't know about Callum Shepherd, but last time I saw him, he got trampled on by a horse in about 2 hours ago. So I hope he's all right. We could be getting someone worse.
Good God, I didn't know that.
John Mason's maybe still down there.
Oh,
She's still trying to pull up Galaxy Princess.
They weren't the best from Joe Mason on that one today for our Edge subscribers. Blame me for that one. That was shit. We're not totally shit, but that was shit. Joe Mason not doing us any good there. Right, so covering off Ascot then, obviously we all think Cudwar is the right one. If you get the price, that's the problem. But that's where we stand unanimously as bar stewards there for tomorrow's big group race there. Ascot, moving to York then, where they have 4 races on the card, the TV box. El Najm, one that I know Jack likes very, very much as a horse and a prospect. But Jack, I sense from trap 14 at a current price of 3-1, you're not exactly happy with the placing here.
I'm not, and that sounds bad given the shirt. I mean, he's usually an immaculate placer of horses, but yeah, trap 14 round here. I just don't know why you wouldn't just save this for the Golden Mile. He'll be well in off a pen under the. He'll be well in for that. Just what's the big benefit of running here? I know it's a decent pot. Does the shirt maybe think he needs more experience? Possibly. I couldn't back him at 3-1 with Kingscote, who gave can't remember the horse. I think it might have been an edge bet. He gave an absolute stones to one of shirts last week at Donny. Couldn't be with him, unfortunately. I mean, look, the horse might have the quality to just surpass these. He's certainly probably £10 well in off 96, but he's probably going to have a hard race. And I don't really get it for 23 bags. It's not a world beating pot. I guess the one that would appeal a little bit more would be the Crisford horse, Telemark. I think that's one that's going the right way. Progressive looking 3-year-old, hasn't beaten much thus far. At Thirst last time out is a pretty poor field there, but did it with ease really, and I think it's certainly one going the right way. But yeah, it's annoying with the shirt source in there because, as you said, I do like it a lot, but it just makes it a bit of a non-bet contest for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, the draw stats are really bad for that wide. If punters don't know York very well, that short run to the bend for the mile is really very difficult for a horse drawn wide. They've either got to use up a lot of petrol early to get across and get a nice position without being wide, or they have to just take the medicine and drop right in. And that's when you're going to need lots of luck. So the first two in the market, Blue for You, is drawn 12 and El Najm is drawn 14. So the case for Telemark gets a bit stronger, and I'd be more confident with Telemark, but they're stepping up in trip. And knowing the Crisfords, are they going to go handy? They might just like go midfield or have a boring position early where no one's excited. I found this race difficult, John.
Can I put one up at a price?
Of course you can. That's what we're here for.
Here we go then. I noted with interest at the June York meeting that your friend and mine, Happy Tim, had taken possession of a horse from Ireland called Your Man there. I took notice of this because it ran behind our friend Christian's horse, Tolstoy, at the June meeting. This travelled up until, say, a furlong and a half out in behind a wall of horses, and then lack of fitness told. But he still only got beat 4 3/4. Then he bombed out completely on the all-weather at Newcastle, but he'd run a stinker on the all-weather at Dundalk when he was trained in Ireland. I don't think the all-weather suits the horse. Back here, after 2 runs to get him hard fit, and back on grass with just making a nice print. Slight step up in trip, so I think the tempo will suit him as well. I think this at 33 plus is an interesting play out the 10 box.
Your Man there. From Andrew Kinirons to Happy Tim. Oh, I've fell out with him.
I mean, in theory, that ought to be a trainer upgrade, but the jury's out on Happy Tim this year, isn't it?
He's having a bad year if you look at his stats this year. He's never that great because he just runs them scattergun a lot of time.
And I don't think he weeds them out enough. I think he needs to have a fucking good clear out end of season and get rid of some shit that's badly handicapped. That's his problem, I think.
Yeah.
But I also took note that Ian Hamilton and partner have come into this horse now after it ran in the Hampton Racing Silks for its first 2 runs. So I think it's interesting. He's also allocated an owner to the horse now.
Right, interesting. So one at a price there from John, and we can't certainly knock that because, as we've already said, the top end of the market have some issues to deal with and contend with during the race. You know, the draw is absolutely vital for the mile at York.
I think this is right for a pop-up, to be honest. I think there's some absolute shit running in this.
Yeah, indeed. But then we're not saying that El Najm can't win. He's very well handicapped, as Jack's pointed out, and Jack fancies him strong for the Golden Mile. Blue for You, as we know, is a contender for the August meeting at York. Always seems to be in contention to win that mile race. Is it the Hambleton, that one, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hambleton. So you could probably see Blue for You being another prime contender for that, but whether he can defy 12, I have my doubts. We move on to the 235. It's the John Smith City Walls Stakes, over 5 furlongs. Speedballs time here for York. You go hard or go home on the Knavesmire. That's the strategy there. Blast off.
Go home.
Yeah, blast off. I need to complain here at Kevin Ryan. Whilst Kevin Ryan does a very good job, he's got the July Cup favourite. I can't knock Kevin Ryan as a trainer, but I'm really angry that they've put We Never Stop in this. I highlighted in a recent sectional column on Barstewar's Extra that this horse is capable of running to 100 over 5. He's very unexposed. He's got a mark of 91. They could have saved him for a really valuable 5 furlong handicap. I think there's one on King George Day. I could be wrong, but I think there is. And I really wanted him to run in a handicap off 91. He'd be an absolute good thing. And yet they're coming here off 91. It's just a disgraceful bit of place. £22 to find on official ratings with some of these. John, this is terrible placing, is it not?
Shocking stuff. It doesn't get called out often enough, does it, really? I mean,
No.
This is just proper bad, you know.
Like, it's not like he's 5 or 6 and it's like, oh, let's just get some tickets or have a pot shot. The fact is he's 3. So if he finishes 3rd or 4th in this, you've blown your handicap. So that's it. No more handicaps. And then you've got to compete then at the highest level all the time because you can't win handicaps off 105, 106 or whatever. Same for James Orton off 88 with Grandland. You absolute idiots. You'd scratch them straight away looking at that field. You'd just go, what's the point of that? Awful. Absolutely awful. Anyway, let's try and find the winner. John, have you any idea?
Yeah, Kevin Ryan's old house, Amaretti Hammer.
Yes, for the Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, afraid so. Obviously, nobody likes to see Jamie Osborne win anything, but I think in this situation, I think that it's probably going to tie up quite nicely. I'd been off since March when running quite well at Ascot, I thought, because he pressed the pace and understandably got a bit weary in the last furlong. This course suits a handy ride better than Ascot. I think 7-1's pretty solid each way material in the context of this race anyway.
Do you know what? I'm in your camp here. Again, it's only Gunter, Ed. If someone says you've got to bet, it's another throwaway 50. I think there might be a bit of 10s available, maybe. I'm sure on that. But
Sevens would be nice.
I'd chuck a 50 away on Emirati Anna if I'm that desperate for a bet. Jack?
Yeah, I couldn't knock that at all, in all honesty. It's an open affair. The one horse I like, who I think will win something this year, but I'm not sure about today, or tomorrow even, is Rogue Lightning. My issue with him is he's got himself a bit of a habit of missing the break too often. Did it at Ascot a couple of weeks ago. Did it at Haddock a couple of weeks before. And obviously, you probably want to be fairly up with it, or at least midfield here. But there is a fair lick of pace on. I mean, I think Kev Ryan, Horsey, you mentioned, will go forward. Clarendon House will go forward. And you've got the likes of Grandlad. Democracy Dilemma always goes forward. So if they go a tad fast, it could be one that sets up for him potentially. But it does come with the wealth warning because he could, Corker's in there as well. He won't be missing it by as much as that thing does, but he might well do. But, dropping back into listed company, I do think there is, he's better than that on his best. And, he was a fair fancy for me in the King Charles. So dropping back into this company in this sort of field, I think 11-2, 5-1 is fair enough. But it does come with the caveat that if he misses the break, you're probably toast.
Indeed. That's the thing at York. That's why that thing of Batman's won the Nunthorpe last year, because it just it pinged the lids.
I think we have missed one that might be worth a cursory glance. Is what's Ger Lyons doing in here with a twice raced 3-year-old filly? He's not got a great record in the UK, but he's obviously he's picked this one out. Siobhan Rutledge, who's a jockey, I know our good friend Catherine Fry's a big fan of, and John I think equally. It's just slightly random placing, I thought there. I'm not quite sure why they've pitched here.
Yeah, John reckons Siobhan Rutledge, she come over here to ride in the British Isles. She'd challenge all the female jockeys into a scrap and I'd take them all on at once, John.
I think she probably would. Yeah.
Yeah, John's a fan. Exactly. What is that? That's another strange placing. But again, it goes against the grain of our very own Nick Davis, where, of course, we support the Irish stayers and we don't support their sprinters. So Nick can be saying, no. So we've summed that race up as more of a gin and pate race again, which is sad for our listeners. We'd like to give you something more solid. John's probably come up with the best case, I think, out of the three of us. We move on to the 310, which is, of course, the very valuable John Smith Cup.
Magnet Cup.
Of course, as what's fondly known to us bar stewards as the Magnet Cup, which is what it should be called. Magnet Cup. All the way, John. Haunted Dream heads the market at 13-2. Botanical next in at around 7-1, I believe. These prices might not be up to date. I'll start us off. Although he's come back in a little bit, I want to back Emfjar. Double figures or better. I think this is a bet. He's got the inside post, so Jack Mitchell should be able to get plenty of cover, which is important to Emfjar to get him settled. I thought it was a nice little comeback after being gelded last time. It value for much, much more at Chelmsford. Now, there will be a theory out there that people think this is an all-weather horse. It's only... After all, its most impressive performances have come on the all-weather. However, I just think what's important to him, rather than the all-weather, is a nice gallop, despite pace points not looking balmy, I still think you'll get one because you just do in races like this, as horses are keen to lead, keen to get positions, and I don't see a crawl. I'm saying that all weather isn't important. It wasn't important to his sibling at all. Won in America on quick ground, and no problem at all with turf. And they shouldn't be on breeding. Lope de Vega out of a Galileo mare, you shouldn't be requiring the all weather. So Jar is massively overpriced. I think at tens, I'd be about 4 points shorter myself on that one. John.
Up until the draw was made, I was desperately keen to back Epic Poet in this. 22 has killed it for me. I've kind of switched allegiance to Paradius.
That's Nick's bet on extra for our extra customers. Yeah, he mentioned.
I really like the run at Epsom. I mean, he hung left foot. That's the camber. You know, he's not a horse that hangs here, there, and everywhere. I think he's a good travelling horse as well, which I think is a great deal of assistance in a race like this. I think you want to get a position and hold it comfortably. You know, if you start getting at your horse, you get shuffled back, and there's all sorts of problems attendant in a field this size over a mile and a quarter around here. And I love the fact that he knocked him on the head at the 31st of May and thought, right, Magnet Cup. I really think this is primed to run a good race out the 7 box.
Again, Nick made a very good case on Patreon, so I do respect that, and I respect you backing that up. Jack?
I'm with John, actually. I completely agree. I think Paradius is the bet here. I know Davis has had juicy prices earlier in the week. He's
yada, echo.
Got the 3-wheeler out. He's been around all the shops and stole all the nice stuff. But I think at a double figure price, he remains interesting. You know, he's nearly double the price of Haunted Dream, who he beat at Epsom. I know that had a bit of a tough start and ran very well, in fairness, at Ascot. But as we've discussed, we're kind of against the Ascot runners at this point in the year. They can run flat. That was a big effort for me in the was it the Wolferton. So I'd certainly be with Paradius. And Epic Poet is a horse I really like, but 2 reasons for me: draw, as John outlined, but trip also. I mean, he was entered in the Old Newton Cup, or was set to run in it at the weekend. Obviously, that got canned because of the bend action there. So this feels like a little bit of an afterthought. I'd have the E-ball certainly in mind for that. So that'll be running on at the end, and maybe you're worth taking a price for the E-ball whilst you're at it, because that'll be more its bag than this for me.
No, good shout. Nice opinion. Just one thing. There's only one 3-year-old in this. 3-year-olds don't usually get in this, John, do they?
They used to back in the day, but obviously it's gone the same way as the A-bet.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be all right, you get a 3-year-old in those, but...
The only one here is Ramard, the shirt. Obviously, 5th in the listed race behind the super horse of... Jack spotted this one. One of Jack's 5... Al Makwam. A good horse, that. Good horse. Yeah, we like that one. Especially when it goes to a mile and a quarter. We're all bouncing. Is that interesting at all to anyone?
Isn't he soft as shit? Because they dropped him straight back from 10 to a mile. After he went out like the proverbial candle on debut this year. And now they're trying a tongue tie because he still went out like the proverbial candle of the mile.
Agus's record with first-time tongue size is astonishing. Really good. Which I find interesting because usually when they put a tongue tie on them, they usually have had a window.
Yeah.
But then you've got Sheikh Ahmed, right? If Sheikh Ahmed don't want his colt, the secret to be out that the wind's fucking useless. You don't declare it. He's never going to sell it, is he?
Yeah.
So why does he need to declare it?
Yeah.
And it's 51 days off, which is around the wind up territory when you've had one.
Yes.
So I reckon that's had a wind up.
Personally,
you don't sell them. Only crap ones end up in sales, not that.
I will say he's always campaigned it like he thought it's a good horse.
Yeah.
So
the run behind Al Musmak looks a bit better this week, doesn't it?
It does. That kind of just interests me slightly. The race itself, the John Smith, the Magnet Cup, sorry. Pardon me, John. A race that is close to my heart, and I do like to back winners of this, but again, it's a very, very tough race this year. I'm very disappointed in the connections of King's Gambit because I made a point of this on Patreon about the fact that they've entered it in all the Group 1s, the Juddmonte and everything else, but this is the lack of imagination of racehorse trainers now. So they've entered the Hampton Court, they're running that, but they never considered an entry for the Magnet Cup. Right, it's 103,000 to the winner, which is more than most Group 3s and Group 2. You don't get many, in fact, it's just ridiculous money. So you could have entered and ran in this off a rating after the London Gold Cup win. What was it? I think 106 or something. What price would you two make King's Gambit in this off 106 with a decent draw?
6 to 4.
6 to 4, as Gordon Brown says when he's up at air. Exactly. And then you get some spice to the race because then you get Davies clucking and people like that going, I found one at 25s. Can't be 25s. Favourites too short at 6 to 4. It adds spice to the race. And they should have done that. They should have entered it for that because, to be fair, it's a perfect stepping stone. If they did want to chance their arm in a Juddmonte or something else, if it pissed up in that, they could then pocket the 100,000 and then on to the next goal. Idiots. Again, morons. Get me placing them. Harry Charlton. Idiot.
You do get the feeling he's slipped up there.
Where are you going to win 100 grand? Unless you run at Group 1 level, you're not going to win 100 grand. You can't find any Group 3 or Group 2 anywhere around that's going to give you 100,000.
No.
So you can be 6 to 4 to win 100 bags. Harry Charlton, an idiot. Right, there we go. I've said it. You should have that in your foresight and thought, we'll definitely get in. Rimard's got in. You'd have got in. No problem. But no. You want to enter it. Juddmonte to be 25s against City of Troy. Moron. 345. It's the John Smith Silver Cup Group 3. Klondike heads the field at 3 to 1. Again, the shirt is in the business end of the prices. Richard Kingscourt in the saddle. Al Kareem would have been a fancy for me, chaps. But unfortunately, Sam James is in the saddle. So that puts me off a bit. Because
not content with retiring Jack Enright. We're starting on Sam James now.
Rusty Lee couldn't settle Al Kareem last time. He's got the form to win this. If we got a pilot in the saddle, and it's Super Saturday, so they spread about like Nutella at a kid's party. Sorry about that. It is, for me, I'm sorry, he's got to settle that early. Good luck with that. So I am very strong on one here. I like Old Farm McDonald. Al Saqib for Andrew Balding shaped very well at Ascot in the Copper Horse. It was the only horse closing out of the entire field late. And he's always been threatening and promising a big run over this sort of trip and maybe even further. So we're exposed that at the prices, 7 to 1, it's quite juicy, is that? You've got Trash Can in here that wants softer ground because it'll probably dry out a bit tomorrow, you'd have thought. I don't think there's nothing to like. Salt Bay is what it is. I think Al Saqib has got the most improvement. Jack, come to you for your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lee. I think you could pick holes in a few of these. I thought Klondike was the beneficiary of a very fine Ryan Moore ride last time out. I thought Salt Bay was the better horse that day, but got beat by an excellent jockey. And you've got a big old downgrade. I've done him twice today, haven't I? But Kingscourt for Moore is not the sort of substitution that Southgate would be looking for.
We don't just win awards; we retire jockeys.
Yeah, we do. No, I mean, look, for me, I think he is what he is, but 3 to 1, no. Al Kareem, I put up on one of the Edge broadcasts in France last time out, and I thought had every chance there and didn't deliver. He's one of those who'll just keep. He's a one-paced horse. He'll probably place, but wouldn't be a win bet.
He tries. He's really tough.
Very game. Salt Bay's got a knee action higher than Olympic high jumpers. I think it will be too quick for him tomorrow. So you come down to Al Saqib, who, as you said, was the only one who showed a bit of fight at the line at Ascot. It's just whether the sort of quite flat and quick 14 will be a bit quick for him here. I'm not quite sure, but given a prominent ride by old PJ, I think he's got every chance.
I think that's the value, John.
Well, I thought Klondike still opens over with more improvement.
Yeah.
I thought he was in front long enough last time, and he just started start looking for a bit of company out. I think with Al Karim possibly going to take him to the toe pole, I think we might see a bit more from Clondy. He was always after I thought could possibly rate round about the 115 mark.
Yeah.
I did fancy him if the shirt had gone a different way with him last year to end up in the Baltic. I think that sort of level is not beyond him. I'm not thrilled at the price. I think the price is just short enough to probably stop me backing him. But in my head, I think he's possibly the most likely winner.
You can't say his progress has stopped by any means. He's had just the 6 starts, and
This is it. He's highly raced, isn't he? You know.
we saw how he shaped when he was second to the Madwoman's Gregory in that race at Goodwood. Like you say, there's every reason to believe that he could get to 115 plus, which makes him the right head of the market.
Have a look who's bought into him as well.
Yes,
The lads.
Yeah. They know what they're doing. It's one of them for me. Al Karim is an absolute tough bugger. He beat Isra. He's beaten Blue Stocking. He was second to Hamish. Some of that form, he's like really good, but the last 2 starts might put you off a bit, as in his form might have just plateaued and is that him done kind of thing for now. His last 2 runs are a bit of a worry, and of course Sam James, but great cases made by Jack and John there. Me and Jack are Al Saqib fans, with John in the camp of the Haggis horse, but not happy with the price. We move to HQ, finally, to get through these TV races. There are 5 races on the telly box, and it starts with the Bedford Lodge Fillies Handicap. Lovely Fillies race. The top 2 in the market, I'll kick us off, are very progressive fillies. Miss Bodacious, big filly. Lot more to come. Up in class. Can she handle that? Yes, of course. But this is a tough heat. Lulu's Gift. I'm a bit perplexed why the shirt, is he losing it with his place? He decided he wanted to win a 7K race and get thumped £7 for beating not as good as fillies as this. That's at a disadvantage, but Lulu's Gift, I think, is an improving filly the same. Good on the clock. The one for me at the prices, just the price, I'm just a Heritage House fan. I think she is shaped very well in listed company. I'm not a fan of why they blow the handicap marks so quickly, but obviously do it for breeding. But you look at the form lines from, say, last year, second to Sheik Columbine, second to A Day in Devon. She ran very well when third to Jabara. Carlisle last time. Kita Kotai ended up beating Heritage House. But I do feel Heritage House has the more improvement in her in terms of a filly than Kita Kotai. I wouldn't be averse to backing that at 10s either. 10s each of 2 of those look value, whilst the top 2 in the market are probably, rightly so, they're very progressive, probably well handicapped, but up in class. John?
I put a note on Miss Bodacious back in February, and it said, back in the handicap, it's going up to 7 furlongs. Empty account in brackets.
Yeah.
And then more brackets, and it said, thought this might be a cunt, but isn't.
It refused to go in the stalls at Thirsk, if you remember.
And then, of course, Calvert didn't go up to 7. He stuck at 6 of 74. So I didn't empty my account, and she pitched up 130.
So that season's gone with some of these horses, isn't it?
Completely. Can she win off 83? Yeah, probably. Can she win this off 83? I don't know. The one that I kept getting drawn to was Hard to Resist, who just had a complete float up at Ascot. Obviously, get the owner a couple of tickets. I think this is probably more likely the target. He doesn't vote Ryan Moore lately.
No. So we are steering away from the top end. I'm Heritage House, Kita Kotai, you're Hard to Resist. Jack, where are you at?
Well, I'm going to chuck 2 more at prices just to make it even more confusing. So Rafe Ralph Twins Divine Breath is a horse that I certainly like. Form doesn't say much or give you much, but an uber impressive winner at Chelmsford last time out. Another one that was playing silly buggers in the stalls at Sandown, but has been kept back for this. I mean, look, it's a higher grade than anything she's raced in, but I think she could be a very nice filly in the making, and I don't think 85's her ceiling. So I'd be interested in her. And the other one who's on a little bit of a redemption mission is the silly Fart de Foy horse Rochelle, only 14th in the name has escaped me now. Sandringham, the 1 mile handicap at Royal Ascot. Didn't get the clearest of runs. About 3 furlongs out, she was sort of checked in her run a little bit. I'm not sure that she fully saw out the mile personally, and I think back to 7 would certainly be a positive. Had a really good win at Kempton prior to that, and decent form in France in a listed race where she was only 3 lengths out there. So, yeah, I think she's around the sort of 20s mark, and I think that's certainly interesting. And the pair of them at double figures would be a sort of half-point play each for me, I'd say.
Nothing wrong with playing Fillies races at big prices, as we found out to our detriment in our Barstew's lifetime so far, that Fillies often disappoint. When we come to prices, it's not always a bad thing in these type of races, which of course, if Davis was on, no. Saying about Davis, keep talking about him on this show, don't know why, but I told him to go and lie down. He came up with a bet in a Fillies race today at York. He was quite lucky, actually. The Botty horse.
I backed it as well.
Great journey. Yeah, it showed turn of foot like he said it would, but just probably made its move too soon. But Davis betting in Fillies races. This is how desperate we are. It is. The 250
One
is
for the
the
tinfoil hat show.
We'll do a tinfoil hat show soon to cheer you all up about the world. Right, 250. It's the Bet365 Mile Handicap. 50 grand added to the race. 25,000 the winner. It is coming in a little bit now, and it's frustrating, but this is what you have to deal with. It's my nap of Saturday, and is the Kev Ryan trained Volterra. Could be a massive day for 2%. Tom, how many Abbeys have you won? I go out with Amy Ryan. You don't. Honestly, this horse beat Skakusa very easily at HQ. This is strong form. Skakusa reversed the form in the Hunt Cup, but was obviously drawn better. Well, if you watch Volterra in Britannia, it thumped easily the 10 he raced with. And I just think that has gone, it's not really gone unnoticed now because we're into 92 joint favs, which it should be clear fav. It's still man up of the meeting. I think it's going to get hammered. I think it'll go off. I'm predicting probably around the 11 to 4, 5 to 2 mark. I think it's the only one you can solidly be within the race. I genuinely think that. Kurat, for example, finished in front of him, Britannia. He won't do today. Simply is Volterra for me all the way. I think it's the bet of the meeting. And I think as long as the draw doesn't play a part, that's the only caveat. I'm not sure about drawn right on the wing. I don't know how that's going to play out tomorrow. But there we go. That's where I'm at, John.
I think you probably remember earlier in the week I was telling you there was one I was quite strong on in this. I haven't changed my mind. And that is Jack's friend, Jane Chapel High and Champagne.
Oh.
John only backs Jane now because Johnny Patty. That's what it is.
Well, like I said to yourself, Lee, all the money that Peter Harris has spent on these horses is sent to her. For her to run this in the Craven and then to say, well, it can't even run to 88.
You've got some explaining to do.
Yes, I think this can well run to 88. I think it has the potential to probably run mid-90s plus. And when you take Johnny Patty's £3 off as well, you're only talking running to 85 to hit the mark. Yeah. I think the fact that she knocked the horse off after the Craven and giving him time to straighten himself out and everything's a good sign. She likes these big handicaps like Newmarket and York. Mill Dodar, case in point, you know. I think it's pretty interesting, really. We're going there at 21.
Do you think that spreads on the patty?
It wouldn't be the biggest shock, would it?
If you're putting him up, there's got to be some sort of gain otherwise, isn't there?
Tie a plank to your arse, Johnny.
Oh, dear.
Right, Jack.
Well, it's parrot form here, I'm afraid, because I've literally looking at two notes: Volterra and Champagne Prince. The negative on Volterra was the draw, as you pointed out, Lee.
Yep.
I know that there was a couple that came stand side today and were or sort of stand side to middle, but I particularly that Falmouth, I was really surprised that they all went stand side bar Rogue Millennium, who I think with a bit more cover might well have won that. So I think they will be coming far side tomorrow. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with that, but absolutely couldn't knock it. But yeah, Champagne Prince. I put it up in my all-weather notes. That seems a distant memory now. A few months ago, did nothing wrong on two all-weather starts. Looked uber impressive. Completely bombed out in the Craven. But as John said, she's a really poor placer of horses. As much as I'm a fan of the yard, as you know, I'm surprised that this one has been sort of kept back and looks to have popped up in a reasonable looking race. And I'd be surprised if this wasn't better than 88. And I think old man Pete Harris would be if he bought that for 230 grand. So yeah, at 20s, it has to be a bet for me off a decent draw and a nice layoff.
Hopefully, the grey shithouse can get it done. At a massive price for Jane. We all want to see a Jane interview after the race. Yeah,
Her form's been terrible of late, I must add, but there we go.
Showing 75 in Racing Post.
75% RTF.
Yeah.
Well,
you've been over betting them, Jack.
Must be. The system's broken. Send more money.
We come to the Superlative Stakes. Good luck with John and Jack highlighting the big price there. Hopefully that does the biz. It certainly makes more headlines than tipping 9 to 2 shots. But the 325 there, the Superlative, head of the market is Ancient Truth at 13 to 8. Obviously isn't going to be as good as last year's winner. Blown them away, City of Troy. But Ancient Truth, I've had a chat with a couple of people today, a couple of the professional people, and they think 13 to 8 is short enough. John?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think 13 to 8 is short enough.
The reason being, the form doesn't look anything massive, does it? All right, the fourth horse, El Burhan's won twice since, but it won at Yarmouth and then Beverley. All right, it won by 6 lengths, but it just doesn't look like amazing form. I'm wanting to get stuck into it and thinking, yeah, because it's not a deep race per se.
Horse it beat last time has got dick sins, hasn't it?
Yeah, for that sort of price at this level, I'd want to see a little bit more part of my money. So the play for me will be on the day is backing Pentle Bay in the 4 places, because I just think that he will step forward again for Ascot. Obviously was made to look pedestrian by the O'Brien horse. But the fact that Brian has come out and pissed up, he's got an official rating of 94 at the end of the day. Jewel London did nothing, but Miss El Fundy of Prescott's, that come out and pissed up. Kempton. Just a little bit of substance to the Cheshire form to say it's not useless. It just the winner just might be extraordinary. So Pentle Bay, I thought, again, to plug on and keep going as 4 places was the most solid play. Probably be a shade of odds on, but I'd be quite happy at that. About 10 to 11, backing that in 4 places in the Superlative. If they do a 4-place market, that is, they sometimes do Betfair. John, how do you stand?
If there's 4 places on Betfair in this, there's only one else I'd be interested in playing, that perhaps Turf and Katie's.
Yeah.
Beaten 4 1/4 by Electrolyte on debut, and it was an absolute gormor. Didn't even know it was on a race course. Palpable improvement at Beverley. Made all, very professional. Could have won half the track as far as I was concerned. Open to plenty of improvement. Ought to be ridden handy again, which might help here because they could all be pissing about watching each other. I think he's a very, very sporting player at 50 to 1 against a substandard Superlative field.
Good shout. Nothing wrong with that at all. A price in terms of running big he definitely stepped forward a lot from debut. And I agree with everything you say at Beverley. It absolutely gagged up. Hand ride.
Someone gags up like that, it shouldn't be 50-1.
No, not in this. No, Jack.
Little bit contrary for me, but I do like the favourite a little bit more than you guys suggest. And I haven't spoken to professionals, so I might have that against me. The reason being, I thought the debut form was all right. Principality, the Hannon horse, gagged up at Goodwood, didn't really run particularly well. Well, it ran pretty poorly in the railway at the Curragh. But the form of that Goodwood race has worked out really well. El Burhan's 1-2 on the spin. And what I like about this one is that he held it back and hasn't run at the Royal Ascot meeting. And if you listen to Appleby, he's quite a fixed. He has certain plans for horses, and with his good 2-year-olds, he loves to run them in this race. I mean, he's won it with Native Trail, Master of the Season, Corto in the past, and I feel he pitches his best 2-year-old into the best 2-year-old colt into these races. I agree that the sort of 6-4, 13-8 is skinny. If that drifted a little bit more, sort of 15-8 twos, I'd be really, really keen to get involved. I don't think this has done anything wrong so far. Columnist, I feel, was third in a very poor Coventry. I don't think that's form that you want to take with you. The path then on, I've been underwhelmed with the O'Brien horses that have come to this meeting. I just think it's another that he doesn't really care about, in all honesty. And Pentle Bay is the other. I think my bet this race will be a forecast, probably reverse forecast, just to cover if Pentle Bay was to step forward. But I was with that in the Chesham. I thought he ran a lovely race, and yeah, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't either of these two. But I'm a bit warmer on the Fav than you lads.
Good stuff, Jack. Always good to have a different opinion rather than sometimes all agreeing. So yeah, of course, it may well bolt up. It's not a good superlative. That's the thing. It's not. The race hasn't got much depth to it in terms of this will run to 100 or this will run to 100. There's none of these in it. Yeah, it's one of them.
They shouldn't call it the superlative this year. They should call it the bang average, shouldn't they?
Didn't Papa Cocktail run in this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that when the email went in.
When we decided that we needed to empty out at York over 6.
Yeah.
And Jack Mitchell decided to empty us out.
For the first time.
Yeah. Bunbury Cup time. If Davis was on this, he'd be having a wet dream with races like this, but not my cup of tea, I'll be honest.
I agree.
I look at the race and I'm struggling to get excited this year for something that I like, because the one that we should all like, of course, is Carry the One. After John, you highlighted it on the shirt, and it showed you what I looked this season when you were tipping it up at massive prices. It then goes in at Newmarket when you don't tip it at massive odds. Pretty unlucky against English Earth. Probably
should have been second. Worst.
Yeah, it want to beat the winner, but that is clearly the form horse and the right horse to be with. But 4-1, we can't get excited on this, can we?
No, it's jockey upgrade, and that's about it, isn't it? Really.
Brian Moore's probably not helped the Walls Ice, but Connections won't be bothered about that if he's 50 bags to the winner. So I get that. Saying about the opposition,
some again have been riding it with valuable prizes in mind. I think certainly last time at Thirsk. I mean, I thought Danny Tudhope had a back spasm, to be honest. There was no effort there from the saddle.
I don't know. I thought they'd gone hard enough for it at Thirsk. I was a bit let down by it.
I'm with you, Leo.
Jockey applied as much forward momentum as you get from putting a steamroller on his back, though.
Yeah, I don't know. He's 10 now.
7 as well. I've never had the 7 as his trip, personally. I thought they'd just save this for Stewards Cup, really. I'd be keen on him there.
Well, that's it. John might be right, actually, in one respect. They might be eyeing up.
I just think he's really well handicapped now. You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely is.
There's plenty of these are going to want to go forward. There'll be pace on. Even a nonger like Callum Rodriguez, the way they're spreading out on the July course, he shouldn't have any problem getting a run. There's a lot to like about some again tomorrow. Bit surprised that Tudhope's riding the 22 box in the Magnet Cup and not coming here to ride this, to be honest.
Yeah, fair point. Jack, your view on this?
Yeah, I've been stung here twice already. I backed Catch Me Paddy Anti-Post, who obviously had that shit draw at York today and ran no race, and I backed Make Me King, who was the Wathnan horse, who I thought would pitch up here and run a good race. So I'm not overly inclined to get much more involved, really.
The Paddy, bit nice shit placement from trainers.
Yeah, indeed. I thought Carry the One was the horse to be with, but the 4-1 just doesn't appeal at all. But he'll get his pace set up. He should win this, really. But I don't know, what's he going to need to be to be interesting? Sixes maybe in this sort of race. I'm not sure. It'd have to drift for me.
Yeah, but I don't think it will,
No.
because it's like the form, like third to English.
Yeah, go off
Everyone
threes
loves
or something, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I can see the public just latching on and going berserk. Right, last but not least, it's the July Cup. And 2%, Tom, how many Abbeys have you won? I go out with Amy Ryan, you don't. As now favourite to win the July Cup,
Has
John.
Tom got the longest nickname out of everybody that we feature?
Do you know what? I'm so happy. I'm so happy for Tom Eaves, because he's had years of being what's regarded as a journeyman jockey or not getting opportunities, i.e.,
He'd be one of the nicest blokes in the weighing room, wouldn't he?
nicest bloke in the weighing room, boring as hell. He's dead inside, but that's what you want. For a top class jockey winning Group 1s, you need to be dead inside. You don't want the chimp going in your brain.
Well, look at Brian Moore.
Tom is as dead inside as you'll get. Look at him in interviews after, and it's like, you aren't going out for a night out with him. Inisherin, let's talk Inisherin. I mean, this wins, doesn't it? It just wins.
Yeah.
It's an incredible. What price are we looking at now, Jack?
Yeah, I think with 5 to 2, threes with Billy Mountains, I think that's a cracking price. In all
Who's
honesty,
doing Billy Mountain's prices today? They'll be getting sacked for them.
It'd be that William Kajani guy off Star Sports, the political man. Do you remember when he priced something up as 5 to 1, and it was a, I don't know, 10s on shot? He'll be doing it.
Bad Beak, he's second in it at 7 to 2.
Didn't have that.
We know the Crisfords are in good form, and obviously it bombed out on the old soft ground behind Inisherin last time, so they'll be confident of possibly reversing the
Did you
form.
say the other day he's got bad beak?
Bad Beak.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
John. I'm sure people have had some bad beat from time to time when they've bought it in pubs. Inisherin, yes, we'll get back to the meat of this. This horse has been thumping horses since going back to 6 furlongs. Takes on the Elders. We've commented as a podcast about how the Elders are a weaker division this year than of any year we've seen at sprint trips. Kinross, 6 furlongs on quickish ground. I've not got him down winning the July Cup on this. Regional, you can make a decent case for us running a good race, but I'm disappointed if the 3-year-olds aren't taking control of these. And I think Inisherin has got Bad Beak's measure, because I like his constitution. I think he fights like a lion as well. Like, Bad Beak relies on the turn of foot to get the job done, but I think Inisherin's got the tools to run sort of handy and then just put the race to bed like he did at Ascot on the quick ground. Are we all in agreement on this, or have we got any other thoughts?
Inisherin could be argued that one of his better performances was where he only finished 6th, because he ran the finish out of the horse that you can't run the finish out of.
Yeah.
And still only got beat 4 3/4.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that really was a fucking hell of a run.
It was.
I think Bad Beat did as a 2-year-old, I think was very good, but I don't think it's as good as this horse. I think this horse is a really, really, really good horse. Impressed me no end at Ascot. You knew he'd won, which I think for an Ascot race, even though it's the Cork and Oral.
Yeah, when you're on it as well.
You knew this had won, what, 2.5, 3 out, John?
Yeah.
You just knew. It were just doing it within its comfort zone, easy peasy. There you go, bye-bye. And Inisherin is the one tomorrow, I think. For Tom Eaves, not only wins Abbeys, he wins July Cups for fun. Yes, pizza for him and Amy when they get home. I think we're unanimous. Jack, have you anything to add on this?
Not overly. I think he's the perfect July Cup horse. You just want them to get out and get rolling, don't you? And I just can't see one that's going to stop him really.
River
And
Tiber,
I
they're
think
the party guest that nobody likes.
I think
Yeah.
this like this River Tiber. I don't think if I don't know what he is, I don't think Aidan O'Brien does. I mean, he looked mile 7, 6. He looked slow at the 6 last year. He's back here. Like obviously he's had these kind of retrieval projects with July Cup horses, thinking of like 10 Sovereigns and horses like that. But this doesn't strike me as one of them. The only older horse that has a little bit of an interest to me is Regional. I thought that stayed on really nicely in the King's Stand. I think the Aussie horse got first run on it. I think it was ridden possibly not to best effect. And I think stepping back up to 6, obviously he was a Haydock Sprint Cup winner. That's slightly interesting. But at the end of the day, all you're probably going to do is follow in a Sherrin home. And look, 5-2 plus, stonking bet in my opinion.
Yep, agreed totally. Before we finish, of course, we have to do the best bets because this is important for punters, what we are doing. I think I'm backing 3 of interest, what we've mentioned on the telly box. She's Inisherin, just covered. Volterra, 9-2 is playable for me. I'm going to chance it with the draw. If I'm beat on the draw, it is what it is. He's the best horse and he will win if the draw isn't important. And I'm going to back Emfjar in the John Smiths, and obviously Kudwa, as already mentioned, being the early bird bet. And if that's 2-1 on the shows tomorrow, or even 7-4 on the shows tomorrow, I'll be backing Kudwa strongly. For me, it's a Sheikh Ahmed and a Sheikh Obaid and Tom Eves kind of day. Ooh. John Lang.
Champagne Prince, and I would say possibly Miss Bodacious.
Ooh, the big filly of Carl Burke's in that Fillies handicap. John's going to dip his toe in there. Yeah, I could sense he likes her. Jack.
Paradius for me in the Magnet Cup, I think, is my strongest of the day, and probably Inisherin, in all honesty.
Yeah, it sounded it where you were speaking about Inisherin, so I'm glad to see that you've done that, Jack. And that's a finish to the show. We hope you've enjoyed it. It's a Not Totally Shit award-winning podcast, and this award-winning Not Totally Shit podcast will be back on Sunday with myself, John and Chris talking more rubbish about the game. That's all from us. Bye for now.